Okay, this video is going to be 3 things I don't like about Christianity slash the Bible slash God in the Bible. Yeah, it's not like bashing, Christians or Christianity for that sake. Because, I mean, I don't know. There could be God, it could be the Christian God, but that is God, or it could be any kind of God. I mean, we don't know. But here are the things I don't like about the Bible. Number one, I don't like original sin slash sacrifice, and here's why. I don't like the fact that you were born into sin. Like, you're born and you're already a sinner. Like, you're born and you committed a crime. Like, you're just guilty for being alive. That's your crime. Oh, you're alive. Guilty. Now you gotta repent for the rest of your life. Sucks for you, man. And it's like, dude, I didn't know I was born. Like you don't have any control over that. And I just think it's kind of silly that someone should be eternally like sorry for being existing. And I feel like that is kind of a control thing, you know what I mean? Because if I had that kind of religion back in the day, like I would use it to be like, oh, you're sinning, so you need to, make sacrifices for us, and you need to repent and you need to do certain things. Because it's just weird, because like that's just totally a control mechanism, because you're always like in trouble and you're always like bad. You always have to make up for it. You always have to make up for living. You have to, I'm sorry for being alive, so let me make that up to you. Because I'm sin. I can't stand in your presence because you're so holy. And I don't like the concept of sacrifice. Like, I don't think you need one person to die to save this person. You need a group of people to die to save this group of people over here. I just don't understand why sacrifice is such a big deal. And like, I don't. I think that's such like an archaic. Like, that's just. I feel like everyone can kind of live together, and I don't really think sacrifice is necessary. I mean, even if you're like, oh, I'm going to, study now instead of go to this party or whatever, if you want to go to a party, you can. But then people are like, oh, that's sacrifice, right? And actually, it's not sacrifice because you would rather study and learn something new than go to a party. So, I mean, you choose. There's never, sacrifice doesn't really exist except for in a different type of society where people are expendable for the sake of another person. So even like sacrificing pleasures now for pleasures later, it's still, you can take pleasure in, not imbibing in other pleasures now. So I think sacrifice is bad in general for anything. And okay, second thing is I do not like how God behaves in the Old Testament, and for a couple reasons. One, he was like a child. He would get mad if you didn't worship him. He would like kill people, like burn cities if you disobeyed him. He was just like, he was really vindictive and like jealous and just kind of like a big baby in the Old Testament. And I mean, you think someone with like omnipotent powers would, have kind of a different view on things, but not to be so childish. And I feel like if I wouldn't do that if I was God, then, you shouldn't either, because you're God. You're supposed to be better than me. But, and I don't like how he had a chosen people. Like, the Jewish people were like, oh, God chose us, so he's going to help us fight this war that we're going to fight. And, he's on our side, so he's not on your side. It's just kind of weird. I feel like it just shows that, like, you know, it's like a Jewish faith, and that's like their God. So, and then I don't know. I just don't like how God would pick sides, because we're all supposed to be His children, and just picking sides is weird. And okay, and number three, what happened to the Indians and other races who never heard the gospel? I mean, like, did they go to hell? Like, because the white colonist people didn't come over into America for a while, and I'm pretty sure the first thing they didn't learn was the gospel. And been all those years before that, they were just worshiping like rock. I don't know if they really worshipped it per se, but they would like give thanks to, different, parts of nature. But they didn't really have like a Western view of God. It was more Eastern-ish, like God is everything, and there were just kind of spirits that represented things. But anyway, yeah, like they all went to hell, and just like so many other cultures just went to hell because they never heard of God, and that's just not really fair. And I feel like that's kind of a huge thing that people don't talk about. Like that's really paramount. Like you think there'd be some kind of like plan in there, and yeah, it's just really silly, and I just don't understand. I don't understand original sin. Like I'm not born a sinner. Like I didn't ask to be born unless I was like born. If I was like alive before I was born, I was like, hey, I want to be born because I'm a spirit. And then God's like, all right, if you go inside the body, you're gonna be a sinner. And I was like, I don't care. But I don't remember that. I don't think you can really hold me accountable for that in a court of law. And just the whole sacrifice thing is weird because no one should have to sacrifice. I shouldn't have to sacrifice you for me to do well. Like we should all work together. And just sacrifice is like the coward's way out. It's the sacrifice is for people who are not, they don't have enough ingenuity to think of a better solution. Like basically like a term of sacrifice now, like we would go into another country and we sacrifice the lives of all these people so we can have their oil, so we don't have to share it with them. And it's not I don't get their oil, but other people do. But yeah, that's a sacrifice. You had to sacrifice, troops who died. It's bull. This term sacrifice is making people lose their lives, and it's giving this whole collectivist identity that's just ruining us, and it's ruining us as a culture. It's ruining us as humans because we have this idea that someone's life is worth sacrifice. Like, oh, I wouldn't kill him, but if I can kill him to save 10 people, then that's worth it. But no, like one person, like the way I view the world, that's a whole world in my mind. Like I view the whole world, and the whole world exists in my mind, and it exists in your mind. It exists in everybody's mind. So if you kill like one person, you're wiping out a whole world, a whole head of thoughts, a whole head of ideas, dreams, and hopes, because you think you're able to sacrifice someone. And all these people, it's just really sickening, and I just kind of went on a little rant, but yeah, sacrifice is terrible. And it's a core tenet of this. It's a core tenet. And original sin, that's like indentured servitude for the rest of your life, because you can never make up for it. You can never make up for being born. You can't undo that. You can't. It's just ridiculous. And I don't think people should go to hell and burn for eternity like the Indians because they never heard of, the gospel. So that's just pretty much my beef. Like, I'm not saying like there's a lot of good things in like the Bible. Like I like a lot of the there's a lot of like good principles and like good advice to live by. And like the Bible is actually a really cool book. Like it has a lot of like songs, and it has just King Solomon, like all of his, I don't remember the name of the book. I feel like I should though. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in the Bible, and a lot of it, I think, if you take it as parable and kind of take it not word for word, I think it's kind of a cool book, and you can kind of like use that, like you can learn some principles and maybe guiding thoughts for your life. But if you take it word for word and you take it literally, then it's just a whole mess that you can't rationalize. And what ends up happening every time you can't explain something in the Bible, they say, well, God works in mysterious ways. What? I feel like that's the ultimate cop-out. It's like, if it's like, I don't know, like I just punched you in the face and then you were like, what'd you do that for? It's like, I don't know, man, it didn't make sense. Like I was like totally cool with you earlier, but I guess I just work in mysterious ways. And then you're like, oh, he must have some kind of higher intellect, so it must make sense. And I just hate how when people die, it's like all part of God's plan for him to die. And it's just, no, they just died, and it sucks. And you don't have to make it a good thing. I mean, sure you can find the good out of any situation, but I don't know. like I think you can practice Christianity and be fine, and like there's a lot of really amazing things that Christians do, and I'm not saying that, but if you just take the Bible, like some people take the Bibles too literally, and I don't know, if you take it as it is and you take it, you know, with a rational mind, the Bible can be a great tool, and Christianity can be a great religion to follow because it does teach a lot of good things, but you have to cross out the bad things in the Bible that you shouldn't follow, and you have to seek out the good things. That's why you have to pick and choose, because you did exactly what the Bible said. There's a lot of weird rules too that they have, but yeah, I think that like one is like if your daughter gets raped, you just have to like they have to pay a property tax or something like that, and but they don't like, gee, I think they have to buy her or something. It's weird, but yeah, and that's gonna be pretty much this video. I might edit something, but it's kind of been really long, so 10 minutes and 53 seconds of rant. So yeah, have fun with that.